Hey everybody, this is Kienai Hoshi, update number 2 behind the scenes. And yeah, so y'all can just like refer to me as Nocturnal from now on because that's way cooler than Extra Roofineer. And yeah, it kind of fits the Nocturnal development I got going on. So yeah, also regarding Nocturnal Dawn development, it has now been shortened to Nocturnal Development. No more Nocturnal Dawn. I did Nocturnal Dawn development at first because like, oh, Nocturnal Dawn, what a paradox, I'm so edgy. And then now I'm realizing, no, I'm not really that edgy, so just Nocturnal development now. As you can see, on my wallpaper, this is Nightingale armor, and you know, like the whole Nightingales who worship Nocturnal and Skyrim. So yeah, like Nocturnal's just like really sick. So, oh, in my opinion anyway, you might think otherwise, but this is me. So anyway, behind the scenes, basically behind the scenes, it's just taking a look at some of the code and stuff that's going on. And let me exit out of this because I'm sure this is probably using up some CPU. That was actually the last video, the update number 2 that I edited and stuff. So we'll start from point 0 of my project, which is the splash screen. So as you know, when you start up the project, this is the first screen you see, which is called the splash screen. And many people some people might say that, oh, this isn't a splash screen, but in my opinion, a splash screen is any, like, in my definition, it's a screen you just like splash on the screen because you need it to like be there for some reason. A lot of games, like for instance, if you've played Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, or you know, Dragon Age, if you played any of these games, or even Conquer Online, you know, you'll know that if data's loading, you're gonna likely see a splash screen. For instance, in Skyrim, if you go through a door, it takes you to a screen where you can see your menu and your progress, or not your menu, sorry, you can see your level, a little 3D thing that you can rotate, and maybe some text about some random fact about the game, and you can see your level and your progress to leveling up, and that's a splash screen. Mine obviously isn't elaborate as that. Mine's also not a 3D game. Mine's just kind of like a comic book in a way. So yeah, that's a splash screen, and this is what it is. If you've played Katawa Shujo, and I might have went over this in the first video, but if you've played Katawa Shujo, my splash screen is almost identical with very few changes to it. The whole background with the black crazy things, I got that off the internet, so it's a copyrighted photo, which it's like, you know, nobody get me in trouble here, this is just a placeholder for now. I'm not going to release this or anything like that, but yeah, so future game, as you can see, and developed by Nocturnal you know, development, not Nocturnal Dawn Studios, no more, just Nocturnal Development. And yeah, so anyway, just take a look at the code. Once, so we start off with a Windows form here, and the way I decided to do it is the form is borderless, which means it doesn't have one of these. You see at the top right here where it says, you know, Kienai Hoshi Visual Studio, and it's got the minus, maximize, and X. That is a border. And mine doesn't have one of those. It's just a picture box on a Windows form, and that's it. And it's automatically loaded with that. So once the form is loaded, it creates a new timer, and it's set for 2 seconds. After 2 seconds is done, which is a tick, it calls this method right here. And this method stops the timer because this is only a splash screen, and I'm only showing it once here. And it's going to stop the timer, so there's no more ticks. It's then going to dispose of the timer, which is setting the timer to null, and it's like deleting any resources that the timer might have used. And I then create a new instance of the splash movie class, or form in this case. I hide the splash screen, and then I show the splash movie. And you know what? What might even be a better way is if I like picture box 1 dot dispose. Let me just run this real quick to make sure like it's okay, because that might actually like release some resources. It might be good, so I'm just gonna test this real quick. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do that for now because that might release some extra resources that might be held up. So yeah, the reason I don't do this .dispose is because I was kind of dumb and I made this on the main thread. And what that means is that when you start up the program, it runs this code. And this is a single threaded right here. This is. So it sets up your application and runs the splash screen. It then enters the splash screen, and this is threaded. And it waits for events. And I can get into that more in the main menu. But yeah, I was kind of dumb. And now I cannot dispose of the... What the hell do I want to call it? I can't dispose of this form, which would give me a lot more resources than just disposing of everything in it, or else the entire program will close. And I might go back and fix that or whatever, but yeah, for now it is what it is. So after the splash screen, it brings up the splash movie. And this is what the splash movie looks like. And so as you can see, it's just a gray area, and you might be thinking, well, why is it just a gray area? And that is because Windows Forms, as far as I know, does not allow you to click and drag from the toolbox and place a movie. It allows you to do that with a picture box, but it does not allow you to do that with a movie. As you can see, they have a picture box, no movie. So that is why. And in the code of the splash movie, let me view the code here. In the splash movie, once this code is called, then it starts running the code in here. And what this does is, it's because, again, this is running on the main thread, I have to do something stupid and make an illegal cross-thread call because I'm trying to run a movie and stuff. And yeah, just don't worry about that. But I make a new timer. I set the interval to 8.5 seconds, start the timer, create a new tick event, which means every 8.5 seconds it's going to call this. I create a new thread called T and make it run this, and then I start the timer. So while this is running, it creates a new movie, and this is the path to my movie. I don't really know why this is needed, but this is. So it's basically saying that the owner of the movie, it's kind of like a parent-child relationship in programming, if you know what that is. The logo movie.owner property is equal to this form. The size is equal to 800 by 600, which is the size of this form. And then it begins to play the movie. Up here I created a boolean called playing, and I set it to false. Now, since I put play movie, I set playing to true. While the movie is playing, just sleep and keep playing the movie. Now, and after it stops playing, and when playing equals false, I dispose of the movie and I hide this form. And with this right here, if you press escape during the movie, it checks to see if playing equals true. If it's not true, pressing escape won't do a thing. But if it is true, it sets playing equal to false. And if playing is false, once this form wakes up from its sleep and rechecks to see if it's playing, it won't be, so it'll dispose of the movie and hide the form. And that's what the tick is. Since the tick is 8,500 milliseconds, or 8.5 seconds, I gotta speed this up. That's what I set, or the movie's about 8 seconds, so 0.5 seconds after the movie's over, it will set playing to false, and it'll show the menu, and menu.shown equals true. I don't know why I have menu.shown equals true. I honestly really don't know why I have that in there. But I do, for whatever reason. And yeah, so, you know, and you might be thinking, oh, well, if you have this, how come you have this? Like, what if they, you know, say playing is false at the same time? Well, that's the thing, is that it won't, because it'll check to see if playing is true or false first. So yeah, that's that. But anyway, once you show the menu, and yeah, I created the main menu up here, so before your movie even starts, it's created the main menu, or it's created yeah, the main menu form and stuff. Oh, why am I don't want that. How do I get rid of that? Oh, damn. I don't know. I hope I don't click anything. But, hold on a sec. I gotta leave this convo. But, yeah, it loads this form, but it's hidden. So it has all these pictures and stuff loaded in this label, which might be why the CPU usage is so high on the movie. But anyway, once the main menu is called, it is loaded with everything in it. These pictures and all this stuff. Like the main menu, like new game, load game, these are pictures. And the two white blanked out boxes are labels. So what happens is, once you create the main menu here, it begins to run this. And what this does is, first, fix menu items makes it so that all the pictures with white backgrounds and stuff, including the labels, it makes it so that the white is transparent and you won't see that. You're only gonna see the text, like the black new game with the white outline. That's all you're gonna see. You're not gonna see that nasty, ugly gray background or whatever it is. And then it starts the main menu music. Huh, I don't know. I must be cracked out or something. Why do I have... Oh, okay. So yeah, it starts the main menu music, and you see this would be menu.shown right here. And while not shown, just go ahead and sleep for 100 milliseconds. And this is checking to wait until menu.shown equals true. Once the menu is shown, it skips over this and then runs these two, which it loads the main menu music, and then it plays it. So yeah, and all this code here, all it does is, this is for when you put your mouse over new game, load game, options, extras, and quit. If you put your mouse over new game, it changes new game from looking like black font with a white outline to a white font with a black outline, so that you can tell that you're about to select a new game. If you leave, it reverts back to the old way, so that you're not selecting it, and so on and so forth. And what this piece of code is right here is, this is an event that is called, once you click the quit button. This says exit, but the picture says quit, so, you know, I just forgot to go back and change it. And once you click quit, it exits out of everything, the entire environment that you're working in, like the entire program. So yeah, and somebody might be asking, you know, like, why environment.exit, why not application.exit? And that's because I don't really know why, but application.exit just doesn't work for me. And environment, like for instance, when I use application.exit and I click exit on the form, or I click X on the quit button, I end up getting the music still plays, but you can't see anything, so it's really weird. The program is still running, it's just that you can't see it or close out of it unless you open up Task Manager and end the process. So environment.exit for me ensures that everything is exiting and closes, and nothing bad is going to happen like that. So yeah, that's pretty much behind the scenes of Kienai Hoshi. And you know what, like, honestly, I'm gonna have to go back. I might even have to redo this entire thing because I could have done stuff a lot more better. For instance, I don't know why I'm running the splash screen on the main thread. Like, and when I say, like, if you don't know what threading is, it's just kind of like, if you create a new thread, it runs simultaneously with the program, like, side by side. Like, okay, for example, you got your main, or splash movie, okay? So, the main thread is what your program is running on. This, like, the processor is processing all of this stuff. It's saying, okay, he calls initialize component, so I gotta go do that. He sets this to false, so I gotta go do that. And once it gets to a new thread, it says, okay, now I have to create a new thread, so I also have to process that at the same time while I'm processing all this stuff. So, you know, once I create the new thread and I start it, the processor is gonna start processing all of this information, but it's also going to wait and see if I close the form or if I, you know, hit the escape key, or it's going to see if this timer ticks. Like, that's what threads do. Like, you know, for instance, if this was all one thread and it started the timer, and the timer wasn't a separate thread, or whatever, I'm pretty sure a timer's a thread. So if it started the timer, it would just keep ticking, like it would just keep waiting for the tick, and it couldn't process any of this. It couldn't play the movie because it's focusing only on this tick, this timer. With another thread, it then is able to focus on other stuff as well as this timer. So that's hopefully, I mean, I shouldn't have had to go and explain threads and stuff and threading, so hopefully you guys understand what that is, and if you don't, it's okay. You might just be some innocent bystander looking at all this and being interested. So yeah, honestly, this isn't that much code, if anybody thinks it is. This didn't take me very long, honestly, and honestly, the largest part of this entire project was finding the pictures to use. I created the main menu pictures and stuff, but that was pretty much about it. Making the movie took a little bit of time. Making this took a little bit of time, but other than that, that's really all it takes, and it's not that much, at least to get where I'm at. Once I start the actual artwork, and I'm gonna have like animations where you'll have a character on the left, and then like the character will be on the right and has to face the opposite direction, so that it's now like, you know, just stuff like that. And yeah. And if you don't know what I mean, let me open up Paint real quick. For instance, if you have a character that is facing this way, okay, and it then moves so that a character here is doing this. Whoops. Funky looking characters. This is why I'm not an artist. Okay. And now the character is now over here and has to be flipped so that he's facing the character. So just stuff like that will take the longest part, because I have to do it for so many characters and so many scenes, and there's going to be so many different characters and stories to go through, so that is what's going to be the long haul. So yeah, that's behind the scenes. This has been a 20-minute video, so I'm going to stop before it gets to 20. So it's been a 19 minutes and 20-second video, but yeah, I'm going to shut up now. So Nocturnal out. All you guys, just keep doing what you're doing. Peace and love, and subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, I hope to get this game out eventually. So yeah.